Welcome back. Welcome back to another installment of my wellness and weight loss journey. My name is Dr. Lisa Lewis, and I'm taking you along with me as I implement this new dietary and kind of lifestyle shift and change that's helping me release as much weight as possible, and also to change my lifestyle so that I can live a more intentional life. I'd say that's the best way to say it, right? So let's give you some stats. I've noticed that 1 week I may lose a good amount of weight, and then the next week it may taper off. But that next week, that I don't lose the decent amount of weight, right? Or what I call a decent amount of weight, and I'll tell y'all what that is in a second. I actually lose more inches. So the first week I lost, 8.5 or so pounds. And yeah, we talked about the fact that might have been a little bit of water, a little bit of inflammation, a little bit of fat, right? And then but 8.5 pounds or 9 pounds is 9 pounds, right? And the second week, I didn't lose as much, right? So I'm down about 12 and a half, a little bit more than 12 and a half, almost 13 pounds. Woohoo! Yes. But here's the crazy part. I'm down a bunch of inches, right? And my goal is not necessarily, I don't have necessarily a weight loss goal, because years ago, if I was 155 pounds, I was much younger. I probably had a whole lot more muscle mass, right? And just things were just different. My body was just different. And so as you get older, that BMI changes, the body mass index changes, because the amount of muscle you have in comparison to fat will adjust and shift, right? And so unless I'm counting like my BMI and knowing how many, the fat to muscle ratio and all of that, I really don't know what a healthy weight is going to be for me. So I'm mostly focused on, I have a number in my head, which was I wanted to lose 60 pounds. And all my friends were like, you lost your mind, right? Where you going to lose 60 pounds from? But I'm telling you, at 5'10", 60 pounds is like 3 dress sizes or 3 sizes. Or it could be maybe 4, but you can hold about 20 or so pounds at that height without really going up a significant amount in dress size, right? But what I really wanted to lose is the belly fat. Okay, so I really wanted to get rid of the part that's been growing the fastest, which is the belly, the hips, and the butt. Okay, and so that's really where I wanted to concentrate the majority of the weight loss, and I can tell you that's where the majority of the weight has been coming from, which is amazing. So I have to say, I measured myself when I started, the first day that I started, and I measured myself a week later, and I hadn't lost that much after that week as far as inches, but I lost that 8.5 or so pounds, right? The third time I measured, which was at the end of week 2, beginning of week 3, I had lost 4 inches off my waist. I was so excited, and I knew my clothes were fitting differently, but I got a whole lot more to go. So it's not looking the way I wanted to look. But gosh, like I lost 4 inches off my waist and 2 inches off my hip, which like hip and butt is that measurement that goes around the hip and the butt, right? So, and I lost like 2 inches or like 1.5 inches from around the lower part of my chest, right? So I'm excited because I know that once I get into maintenance, I'll be able to do more targeted workouts. So like right now, I can only walk or do some mild yoga or something. Like I can't do anything that's going to have a significant effect on my cortisol level, right? So I have to focus mostly on what we call joyful exercise, right? And so joyful exercise really means just strolling, relaxing, doing very little, but still moving, right? Making sure your heart rate doesn't go above 120. So that's what I've been doing. So remember, the first week was all about food because I had to get used to measuring and had to get used to looking at portion sizes and that kind of stuff, right? But the second week I incorporated walking, and did I? Like, I walked so much. I walked an average of maybe 1.5 to 2 miles a day, and it really, really showed. So even though I didn't lose weight, because I mean, the natural amount of weight loss is probably maybe 1/4 pound to 1/2 pound or so. So I was really still losing about 0.4 to 0.8 pounds per day, which was pretty good. The inches were what I was really, really, really excited about. And if you listen to like last week's videos and stuff, you know also that last week was a hard week for me. It was emotionally hard. It was just physically hard. But I had to really push through. And it wasn't hard because of the food. It was hard because I was just, going through some grief and loss. I was just going through some stuff. And really, when my goal in this phase is release, because the weight is toxins. In the weight are emotions. In the weight are a lot of things that I know that I needed to let go of, as well as things that were unresolved. So I know I started to work on a lot of those unresolved issues and started clearing them out, right? But man, oh man, when I was walking, it was like so meditative and so relaxing, and I just felt like, OMG, I'm back. And I don't know if I talked to you about, and I guess I can share a little bit of my journey, but I had a hysterectomy in, I don't know, 2012 or so. And I just blew up. I just gained like 50 pounds overnight. It felt like one day I was one size, and then I looked in my closet and it looked like somebody switched out all my clothes, right? I was like, done. And the weight never left, no matter what I tried to do. Like, I held it well, but the thing that kept growing and growing and growing, and as I continued to gain weight, was the stomach and the hips and the butt, right? And that was most of it. Outside of hormonal weight was cortisol, because I was just under a whole lot of stress, and I'm still under stress. I'm just handling it better. I'm just doing things to release it, and I'm not as sedentary and working so dang hard as I was. So with all that said, I'm really excited because this week is mostly about meditation, which I used to do a while ago. And once all those surgeries start to happen, I kind of lost that connection, I guess is the easiest way to say it. So what happened when I got my hysterectomy is that they made an error. And what they did was they cut the ureter, which is the tube that goes from your kidney to your bladder during the surgery. And they didn't tell me. And so I had to figure it out by these horrifying symptoms. And eventually, when I confronted them, which was within a few days of the symptoms, they had to go in and try and repair it. And then when they repaired it, they made another error. I am not kidding. Another error. A different surgeon. Okay? And so I had surgery one day. They took an x-ray and saw that they made a mistake because I was in too much pain. And the following day, I had to have the same surgery all over again. So it was just horrible. And eventually, they damaged the kidney so bad that I lost my kidney. So now I lost the uterus and the kidney. And so my body was just going through hell. And I was angry. I was, you know, why this happened to me, you know, all the things. And so a lot of times when we think the weight is just about the food, and about the hormone change, it's also about the emotions that you're holding in. Now, I wrote a book thinking I purged in the book, but clearly that wasn't enough because I was still mad. I was still angry. And you know, disappointed and sad, really. Like, my body was all mutilated and it was just horrible. And so I didn't like looking at my body, so I covered it up and I hid. And that's when the weight started to come. I wasn't working out. I used to exercise like an hour, 2 hours a day. I could do a bazillion, you know, hours and barely even sweat. And I just let my body go. I was like, what's the point? I'm mutilated. My body's ugly now, right? And so since I was telling my body that, what did it do? It reflected that for me. And I was hiding. I wouldn't look in the mirror. And I just stopped caring for my body from the physical perspective. I still ate well, but I could have eaten better. But I didn't move. And moving as an ex-athlete is like my savings grace. So that's why I think when I got to week 2 and I started to walk, it started to make me feel like myself again. So normally I'd have been running around the track from back in the day, right? But I'm a little older now. I'm postmenopausal, at least 10 plus years, and I'm not running around no track, at least right now, okay? I'm going to get back to running. I'm going to let y'all know that. But all that to say is all I needed was to walk. And I just walked and walked and walked, and I just loved being out in nature, and I just loved how my body was feeling. So before I started walking in week 1, when I changed my diet, all my pain started to go away. It's like by day 3 before the diet, I was having low back pain before. Mild enough for me to like go to the chiropractor, but not so mild that I had to take pain pills or anything like that. Gone. I haven't had any back pain since 3 days in. I was starting to have a little bit of joint pain, like my knees sometimes, maybe my shoulders, the scapula, you know, that shoulder like that, right, the bone and structure right behind your shoulder, that would hurt a lot. Gone. My knee was clicking and not happy. Gone. Right? So, circulation. My ankles and my feet were swelling up. Sometimes it would really concern me because the side of my body that doesn't have the kidney would swell up more. And I was like, is something really wrong with my heart or what's going on? Mostly gone. Not all the way, right? Because I think part of it is because of the kidney issue. But still, or the lack of kidney issue, should I say, right? But really almost gone. So just in less than 2 weeks of walking and about 2.5 weeks of changing my diet, I feel so much more energy. I've lost a ton of inches, and I don't know, almost 15 pounds is nothing to sneeze at, right? And more importantly, I feel like I'm getting my waistline back, and I'm soon going to be fitting back into some of those favorite clothes that I miss wearing. And as well, I'm sleeping better. My energy is better. Like, I just feel more vibrant and more alive, and I feel like I'm aging backwards. Like, I feel like I'm regressing. And at a time right now in my life where I'm a little down because in the span of 3 months, I've lost 3 people from my childhood, like 3 people that I was friends with over, from junior high and high school and beyond, 3 people that died way too young. I feel like this is a huge accomplishment for me because I started to think about my mortality a lot more. And I'm like, wow, like I actually feel like I'm aging backwards. Like, no, I'm not a drug person. I don't particularly care for medication. I'm not having no more surgeries. um, and to know that the things that I thought that were creeping up that could have been permanent or chronic conditions had been taken away in just 2 weeks, and some were gone in the first week, right? When that can happen, you have a true power inside of you to transform your health. And so that's the thing that I'm so excited about. And now I'm in my 3rd week, and I have 3 more weeks to go on this regimen. And then once I finish this regimen, I'm going to go into 4 weeks of maintenance. So stay tuned, because I'm also taking pictures. So I also start to show you guys like pictures, like the before picture, the week 1, or the week 2, or that kind of stuff. So I'll start putting those pictures up so you can see the pictures, and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about, like how bloated my abdomen was and how small it's getting. And it ain't all the way there yet, but I feel like by the time I get to week 6, even if it's not completely flat, I'll feel good enough to start doing those abdominal exercises that I used to love so much. Like I used to work on my abdomen so much. But more importantly, you guys, I'm starting to love my body again. I'm starting to really know that, like, I deserve to love my body. Like, I abandoned it for so long, and so now I'm getting back to appreciating myself and looking in the mirror and dancing and feeling like I'm sexy again. Just a little bit of time and a little bit of work, and this can happen to you too. So I'm hoping that as I'm going through this journey and I'm sharing what's happening and what I'm feeling, that you're jumping on this journey too, so that you can feel and look the same way. Okay? Now, everybody's got a different goal. Everybody's got a different why, right? Everybody's got a different experience. But what I'm doing is what anybody and everyone can do. I'm not doing anything that requires an excess amount of energy, all these special foods. I haven't designed it so you have to take a million supplements. I haven't designed it so that you can't do it when you're traveling or when you're out, engaged in social activities and stuff like that. I've designed it so that it can accommodate my life. And so I designed it so it can accommodate your life, especially if you're busy, especially if things been creeping up, especially if your body's starting to ache and you're starting to feel a little old, right? You're starting to feel old. You're starting to feel like, wait. I didn't feel like this 5 or 10 years ago. I don't have any energy. Where's my waistline? My brain is foggy. What's going on? Like, these are all the things that start to happen when our hormones change, especially as we transition from perimenopause into menopause. And I am reversing all of that. And so much of it has been reversed in 2 weeks. I'm just blown away. So I'm sure this video is very different from the last video where I was really sad and whatever, because my emotions were coming up. But now I'm just really excited, and I'm looking forward every day to going out and walking. I'm looking forward to what I'm going to eat the next day, because I am not starving, by the way. I'm eating really nice, healthy size meals, and the weight is dripping off. So I'm going to keep you guys posted, and in a few, I'm going to tell you how you can join me in this journey, and so that you can have the same results, because I love working with people and I like working with groups, and I like for all of us to kind of do it together. So the next time I do it, I'm going to be doing it with you, hopefully. All right, so I'll see you soon, and congrats if you're doing this and getting some benefit. And if you haven't started, you're going to be able to, I'm going to show you how to start and give you all the specifics in a few. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.